Hola y buenos días. Yo soy el señor Morris, el maestro de español. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Today we have a lot of things to do. We're going to review the names and orders of the planet and then look at some of the characteristics of planets, such as their relative size and color and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started with our greeting song. Canten todos conmigo. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Cómo se sienten? Yo me siento bien. Muy bien cantado. Well, I'd like to advise you that you might want to take some notes on what we talk about today. It'll make it much easier to do your activity sheets for today's lesson. As a matter of fact, if you want to, go ahead and take out your activity sheets. Maybe you can kind of fill it in as we're going through the lesson today. Let's start with a review of what we've already discussed here. Los planetas. Let's see. Mercurio es el primer planeta. Es primero. Mercurio es primero. Venus es el segundo planeta. Es segundo. La Tierra es el tercer planeta. Es tercero. Marte es el cuarto planeta. Es cuarto. Yeah, now we start to get to all of these guys that we talked about in our last lesson. Júpiter. Júpiter es el quinto planeta. Es quinto. And then we talked about Saturno es el sexto planeta. Es sexto. Yeah. Then we talked about Urano es el séptimo planeta. Es séptimo. That's right, that comes from siete. That's number 7. Neptuno es el octavo planeta. Es octavo. And finally, way down here, this last one, way out here, really small. This was discovered here in Flagstaff. Plutón es el noveno planeta. Es noveno. Now, if you've studied the planets, you know that they're really far from each other and from the sun. But if we speak relatively, we can see that some are closer to the sun than others. Por ejemplo, Mercurio está cerca del Sol. So if we're talking about how far it is from the sun and we say Mercurio está cerca del Sol, what do you think cerca de él means? Means close to. That's right, cerca del Sol. It's close to the sun. Plutón, way over here, está lejos del Sol. Lejos del Sol. What do you think lejos de means? Cerca de means close. Lejos de means far from. Okay. Well, let me ask you some questions then. How about Venus? ¿Venus está cerca del Sol o lejos del Sol? Venus está cerca del Sol, right? Y la Tierra. ¿La Tierra está cerca del Sol o está lejos del Sol? Well, relatively speaking, we'd have to say, la Tierra está cerca del Sol. It's pretty close to the sun, relatively speaking. How about Marte? ¿Marte está cerca del Sol o está lejos del Sol? Well, again, relatively speaking, we'd still have to say, Marte está cerca del Sol. Make sure you get these into your notes, or if you're using your activity sheet, you might want to write those down. Well, let's look at this next one, Júpiter. Now remember, we've got these planets in the asteroid belt. Júpiter, we're going to have to say, Júpiter está lejos del Sol. It's getting pretty far away, actually. It's hard to tell on these models when we draw them up, but it's lejos del Sol. ¿Saturno está cerca del Sol o lejos del Sol? Pues Saturno está lejos del Sol. Está lejos del Sol. ¿Urano está cerca o lejos del Sol? Urano también, also, está lejos del Sol. Yeah, it's getting pretty far out there. So what do you think about Neptuno? ¿Está cerca del Sol o lejos del Sol? Está lejos del Sol. Now, those words cerca and lejos, they don't just apply to planets. You can talk about people or things using those words too. Now, the planets are each huge in their own rights. I mean, they're as big as planets, right? But again, relatively speaking, some are small compared to others, and some are big compared to others. Here's a question for you. ¿Cuál es el tamaño de Mercurio? This word tamaño. Okay, you ready? ¿Es pequeño? ¿Es mediano? ¿O es grande? What do you think? Pues Mercurio es pequeño. Mercurio es pequeño. There. And you see? What do you think pequeño means? Little bitty. How about Venus? Venus es pequeño, mediano o grande. Venus es pequeño. Es pequeño. Relatively speaking, it's pretty small, isn't it? How about la Tierra? La Tierra es pequeña, mediana o es grande. La Tierra es pequeña. Es pequeña. How about this next one? Marte. Marte es pequeño, mediano o grande. Marte es pequeño. It's still pretty small. But let's look at this next one now. Oh, Júpiter. Júpiter es pequeño, mediano o grande. Pues Júpiter es grande. Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? How about this one next to it? Saturno. Saturno es pequeño, mediano o grande. What do you think? Pues Saturno es grande. And next to that we have Urano. Urano es pequeño, mediano o grande. Remember, here's pequeño, here's grande. Pues Urano es mediano. It's medium, isn't it? It's not as small as these, but it's not as big as these. Es mediano. Neptuno es pequeño, mediano o grande. What do you think? Neptuno es mediano. Yeah, again, it's not as big as these, but it's not as small as these. ¿Y Plutón? What do you think? ¿Plutón es pequeño, mediano o grande? Raise your hand and tell your teacher, and I hope you tell your teacher. Plutón es pequeño. Plutón es pequeño. Yeah. Now, if you go out at night and look up at the sky, you might be able to see 2 or maybe even 3 planets, if you can tell them apart from the stars, right? And they'll probably all look about the same color. But scientists, looking through powerful telescopes, have determined the colors of the planets. Do you guys already know the colors in Spanish? Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and go over them right now. If you have your notebooks out, go ahead and get them out. This first one, what color is this? Blue. Y en español, azul. Azul is blue. All right. Next we have, big ol' red. Es rojo. Rojo. Yeah. Can you say that? Rojo. You got that R to roll at the very beginning. Next we have yellow. The color of the sun, right? In Spanish es amarillo. Amarillo. And you see that looks like the name of a town in Texas, Amarillo. Right? It's spelled the same. Amarillo must have come from the Spanish for yellow. Amarillo. Now if we put amarillo and rojo together, we get this color, orange. Yeah, like the fruit name, right? En español es anaranjado. Anaranjado. Can everyone say that? Anaranjado. Okay. Well, if we put, let's see, amarillo and azul together, we get this color. Es verde. Verde. Can everyone say that? Verde. Yeah, go ahead and make sure you can get these in your notebooks, okay? Because it's pretty useful to be able to describe things by their colors. If we put together rojo and azul, we'll get this color. If we put red and blue together, we get morado. Morado. Yeah, that's purple, right? All right. Well, now, here's this color. It looks pretty blank, doesn't it? There's nothing on it. There's no color. It's blank. In Spanish, es blanco. White is blanco. Yeah, blank, blanco. Kind of makes sense. Okay. Next, we have this color. If you close your eyes, this is the color you see. Sometimes if you look up at the sky, you see a lot of this color with the stars in there. Es negro. Negro. Yeah. You might see this up in the sky at night, huh? Yeah. And there's one more color I'd like to talk about, and that's this one. This is the color brown, right? Este es café. Café. And café is also the word for a drink that some people drink in the morning, coffee. Coffee is brown. Café es color café. Coffee is brown. Well, let's go ahead and look now at the planets. If we look really closely, and scientists have told us that Mercurio es café. Mercurio es color café. Okay? You might want to get these jotted down. I'm telling you now it's going to be useful. El segundo planeta, Venus. Venus es blanco. Venus es blanco. It's white. They say there's a lot of gases and clouds around it. The next planet, la Tierra. Pues la Tierra es azul. Azul. Now why would it be that color? From all of the oceans. That's right. All of the oceans make it appear blue from space. The next planet, Marte. Pues Marte es rojo. Marte es rojo. Okay, you getting these down? Júpiter. Júpiter es anaranjado. Es anaranjado. It's orange, isn't it? It's got that big red dot in it too. They say that's like a hurricane. The next one, Saturno, es amarillo. Es amarillo. And they're not all just one color. We're talking about general colors here. So, amarillo. Let's look at this next one. How about Urano? Pues Urano es verde. Es verde. It's green. And we can kind of see that here. After that we have Neptuno. Y Neptuno es azul, like la Tierra. Neptuno is azul, but I don't think it has water. And finally, way out there, they say it's just kind of like a big ice ball floating out there. And ice being white, Plutón es blanco. Plutón es blanco. Well, I hope that you got some notes on all that today, because it'll help you a lot with your activity sheets. The first one is called Los Planetas Número 3. This one should be pretty easy for you, okay? Because what you have to do is unscramble the names of the celestial bodies and then write them on the appropriate blanks. Okay, well, if you want to use your activity sheet from yesterday, that'll help you a lot because it's already got them listed. I want to show you that right here, letter E, are these things, these asteroids. Okay, so all you have to do is come over here and say, oh, letter A, what planet is that? Well, that would be, in English, Mercury, Mercurio. And see if you can find it over here, unscramble it. Oh, look it, I think I see it right there. Mercurio. Mercurio. So I'm going to take that one out of there. And go ahead and list all of the planets, and this will give you a chance to go over the names again in Spanish and their order. Now, here was the activity sheet that covers a lot of the things that we talked about today. El gráfico de los planetas, the graphic about the planets. And voy a poner mi nombre, Roberto. It says fill in the information for each planet. Okay, primero, what's the first planet? Nombre, the name is Mercurio. Okay, now here's the things that we talked about. Mercurio, what color is it? Well, we said it is that color, which is café, color café. And then we talked about tamaño, es pequeño, mediano o grande. Es pequeño. And then, ¿está cerca o lejos del sol? ¿Está cerca o lejos del sol? Is it close to or far from the sun? We will say cerca. Now, there's the activity sheet, and it's got a lot of information on it. And teachers, I'd like to remind you that this is kind of tricky. This is a lot of stuff. If you'd like to look at the answer key at the back of the LPG, Learning Partner Guidelines, Teacher's Guide, that'll help you get these answers. You can do that. Well, we did many things today, so many that I don't even have time to tell you about all of them. You know what we did anyway, right? You were here. ¿Saben qué? Ya es hora de despedirnos. For our goodbye song today, let's sing El Rancho Grande. And I want everyone to say, Yeehaw! With me on this one. I'll tell you when to yeehaw. Canten conmigo. Allá en el rancho grande, allá donde vivía. Now you can say, ¡ajá! Había una rancherita que alegre me decía, que alegre me decía. Say now, ¡ajá! Te voy a hacer tus calzones como los que usa ranchero, te los comienzo de lana, te los acabo de cuero. Good job. Next time we're going to start talking about some interesting things about Spanish and Latin and English and how they're all kind of related. I think you'll find it really fascinating. Until then, adiós y hasta luego. ¡Ajá!